Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. I'm bringing you a very special guest today, a guy that many people refer to as a legend in New York State prison. They call him YB, Yellow Boy the Executioner. YB, why don't you tell the people who you are and where you're from, man?
Name's Yellow Boy YB, from upstate, Rochester, Dunkirk, Jamestown, the whole area.
Let me ask you something, man. I know you went to prison at a young age, right? How old were you when you went to prison?
I was 19 when I went to prison in 94.
And how much time? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was convicted in 93, and I went to prison in 94.
And how much time were you sentenced to back then?
I was sentenced to 10 to 20.
And how much time did you end up doing, Yellow Boy?
I'm doing 13 off the 10 to 20, like 13 and a half.
13 and a half. And like I said at the beginning of this video, you know, a lot of people, you know, they honestly, bro, they refer to you as a legend in the state system, right? And, you know, I had grew up as a youngster looking up to you when I was a kid. And I know that you had went to prison and, you know, I actually ended up in prison around the same time you were in. And I know there were prisons that they sent you to and the captain or the sergeant, someone said, man, you couldn't get off the bus. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was Kawasaki. They didn't want to let me get off the bus because we had an incident that took place there, a real big incident, and they wasn't allowing me back in their jail. They said they didn't want me back in their jail, and the sergeant was trying to explain to him on the bus that, you know, like, yo, you know, this is the jail that, you know, I'm designated to, and they wasn't trying to hear that. They said, well, he's not coming into jail, so the sergeant asked him, like, what do you want me to do with him? They said, we don't care what you do with him. And I ended up going to Comstock from there for the layover, and then they ended up taking me to downstate the next day.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because they say that you had a lot of influence in there, and that was because of an organization that they alleged you were part of and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, it was. I mean, a lot of that was played out, but it was a lot of people look at the negative. You know what I'm saying? That the administration try to portray the negative, but they never looked at the positive YB. You know what I'm saying? They never looked at when I came into a facility, it wasn't that I was looking to, you know, cause anybody harm or do this or do that. I unified, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to take a facility, for example. I'll use Sing Sing, for example. You know, when I came into Sing Sing, you had a lot of guys over there that was, you know, was mature. You know what I mean? And they were with, you know, the unity. So it wasn't hard for me to unify everybody, to get everybody on the same page. There was no cuttings, no stabbings. Everybody was coming to the table. When there was an incident, we'd go to the table, we'll speak, we'll talk. Everybody had a voice, you know what I mean? Don't make a difference who you were, you had a voice. And you know, administration didn't like that. You had officers that was, you know, that they liked it, that. They seen the unity, they liked it, they felt the movement. They were like, yeah, we don't have to do nothing, we don't have to do that. But it was just the administration, the uppers, you know what I'm saying, the depths and the lieutenants and, you know, the sergeants. You know, they didn't like that. They didn't like to see the unity, you know what I mean? And there was an incident that transpired over there where the officers jumped on a inmate over there. And everybody went to the mess hall, you know, with state greens on. And we all went, you know, to show you, you know, like, yo, our unification, man, to say, like, yo, that's not going to happen, man. That's unacceptable for you to jump on this man when you got a disciplinary mechanism. Utilize the disciplinary mechanism. There's no reason for you to jump on this dude when he didn't do anything, you heard?
Yeah.
So, you know, and that led to one thing. When that happened and stuff, you know, I remember them calling us up front. They had called the ILC up front, and they had called me. I was the grievance rep at the time. And they was asking us, like, you know, like, yo, look, man, we're looking into this, we're doing this, and we're doing that, you know, and that was that was like the tip of the iceberg, because when I went back to my cell, like about a week later, I was out of there. They falsified a misbehavior report, and, you know, they used it. I don't want to say said they falsified a Mr. A report saying that, I was leader of a gang, and I was, and they said that I was I put a hit on a kid, and it never came to fruition and nothing like that. But it was all falsified and stuff. Let me
stop you for a second so we can talk about a little bit. We'll get back to that. Let me ask you about the gang that they said you were involved in, or that you were the leader of. What gang did they say you were part of?
Oh, well, they said I was part of. They said I was part of the Bloods.
Okay.
And they had that part right. So I was, they dress us up as like we're oppressing, like we were oppressive, you know what I mean? But we were anti-oppression, and that's, and they knew that from the beginning. I mean, any organization that you have, Chad, you're gonna have, you got constitutions, you got bylaws, you got a blueprint, you know what I'm saying, that governs, each organization. And nowhere in the organization's bylaws was there anything oppressive. It was, in fact, it states right in the bylaws that it's anti-oppression, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're for the upliftment of the community, not just the black community, but all community, you know what I mean? And, so, they like took it out, they take things out of concept sometimes, the administration, and they put a twist, they'll concoct it to make it seem like it's other than what it is, you know what I'm saying? They don't say the positive, all the positive that you do, they only look at the negative that's being done. In any organization, I don't care what you got, even in religious groups or whatever, you got radicals. And what the administration will do, just like the media does, is they look at the negative. They don't look at the positive. They'll say, oh, this guy here is a terrorist, you know what I mean? And you're like, well, this, and the whole organization now is a terrorist, you know what I mean? And they sit back, you're like, well, that's not what we're about. I mean, this guy here went rogue. He went astray, you know what I mean? But we got a doctrine that we follow, you know what I'm saying? So, that's just like, with the Bloods. We have a doctrine. We have bylaws. We have rules and regulations that govern us, you know what I mean?
No doubt.
When you go outside of that, then you acting on your own, you know what I'm saying? You in your own individual capacity. You doing, you went rogue, you know what I mean? We don't promote that, you know what I mean? But you do have that,
So, let's talk about that 99, right?
Yeah.
Can we talk about that or no?
Yeah, we can talk about that. I mean, 99 was original Mensa. We was a Mensa Bloods. We originated out of Attica, and we ended up changing the name. It was some discrepancies that took place within the nation that they didn't want us. The guy that actually founded us didn't want us to use the name no more, which was a good friend of mine. He didn't want us to use the name, so we just changed the name. And 99, so we used 99 because that was the year 99 that we actually changed the name to double. You know what I mean? So we used that year. Like Non-Trade Gangsters had, when they came about, they used 93 because that was the year that they came about. So we just used 99, because that was the year that we came about. So we said 99 Gangsters and stuff.
Okay.
So, and our movement was, it was a positive movement. You know what I'm saying? We were for the upliftment. We had a lot of maturity in 99, you know what I mean? And we promoted, you know what I'm saying? We promoted nonviolence. We promoted, we were anti-oppression. And we was just coming together trying to, build a stronger foundation for, our loved ones and everybody that's involved. We were just trying to help out. Like, if you needed something, you was in box or something, we'd send somebody to visit you. If your family had trouble coming to see you, we would, make arrangements to get you up there. We had to, you know what I mean? So these are the things that we were doing, you know what I mean?
So the Blood, so I was in New York State prison too, right? Around the same time as you back then. And the one thing in New York State prison, in the prisons that I was in, the Bloods pretty much ran the prison, right? And you see a lot of, at least in New York State prison, you see a lot of, you see a lot of, like you spoke about, the negativity of, the Blood organization, Blood gang, whatever, some people call it a gang. It's an organization. But they don't see the positive, like you said, right? Do you think that's because of the unity that you guys had and the power that you had? Because personally, you had a lot of power. I know that for a fact. Do you think that they want to, say, hey, look at, this is the negative stuff, so that they can try to keep you guys down and stop you from, stopping the oppression?
Well, it was a thing that, well, myself, I didn't look for a pat on the back. I didn't need a pat on the back because everything I've done was from the heart. And I was hoping that even my predecessors and everybody that was amongst us was doing it from the heart, because this is what it was our job, you know what I'm saying? And when we came, like I said before, we came in and we tried to resolve things, you know what I'm saying, without any type of violence. And you had like organization going against organization, we would, I would like intervene to find out, what they was actually beefing about.
Yeah.
To let them know, like, yo, that shit is senseless, man. Everybody should be focused on going home. A lot of us, especially when you're in a medium or, you don't have a lot of time, then, that's one of the focuses that you should have, is to go home to your loved ones, man. You know what I mean? And that was one of the things. And like I said before, man, the administration, they didn't like that, man. They just, any time an incident was or whatever like this, they felt that we became too influential. And I'm not saying that, I don't know if it was more of a, a dislike because we did this, or dislike because, we stopped this or we stopped that. I think it was more that they felt like, we were getting too big, and it was just, if we decided to say, you know what, we all going to go against them or go against the administration, that's what I think that's what their fear was, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that's what I can only assume. I don't think they, they really, wanted us to, everybody to kill each other, you know what I'm saying? I guess I would hope that they looked at it and said, well, these guys did a good thing, man, and, hopefully they can continue on, running our jail for us, making our jobs easier, you know what I'm saying?
Well, like I know, man, there's power in numbers, right? And when we say there's power in numbers, I always believed when I was in prison that together we can conquer, as one we will fail. And it's not always about, going and doing bad things and smashing the administration, but it's about respect, man, making people respect us, not oppress us, not treat us like shit, not treat us like dogs. And, you get a lot of that from guards in prison, and I don't like to use the word correctional officer, because to me, they're guards, man, and we're prisoners.
Yeah.
So, but since you spent all that time in New York State prison, I want to ask you a little bit about that, right? I've read some comments where people say, from the West Coast, where like East Coast prisons are soft, and, New York State ain't nothing going on. I mean, you've seen some violence in there, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, shit, I impose some violence, you know what I mean? So it's the thing where, just being around, Chad, the different facilities, and I remember everybody asking, like, yo, what's the worst facility or whatever like this. Anywhere you can make a knife at, or you can make a weapon at, is a violent facility, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you got some dudes it's respecting. A lot of places it's respecting, where everybody comes to the table, like in the feds, you in a car. So everybody come to the table, they usually resolve it, talk it out, or whatever like this, without no violence. But when you got people that's rogue, man, that's coming over there and they just acting on their own, you know what I mean? These dudes, cut you or stab you just off impulse, you know what I mean? You might be doing something and the motherfucker might, took that as a disrespect and popped your top, you know what I mean? And then there's sometimes that you might be walking the yard and next thing you know, somebody done jumped on you, put their knife in you, trying to figure out what happened, where the dude from. And the dude owed a debt, you know what I'm saying? He owed a debt. He was trying to pull a stunt to get out of there. He didn't want to sign in. So he used you as a scapegoat, you know what I mean? So, you have these are, and not to sway away from the question that you asked, but even in California, I mean, like, you go to their jails and stuff, I mean, it's the same, they have the same, arsenal that we have in New York State. They have the same, like, mentality levels, you know what I mean? You're going to find this, if you go to LA, you're going to find a YB, you're going to find a Chad, you know what I mean? You're going to find, the same personality that you got, the same character, the same guy, you know what I'm saying? And, you're going to find that. So, to say that, like, their facility is rougher than ours, or our facility is rougher than theirs, I mean, it depends on the day. Today, dudes ain't feeling, dude feeling, he's in his feelings, you know what I'm saying? So he decided to go out there and cut somebody, you know what I mean? They make a big deal out of it because 4 or 5 motherfuckers jump up and, you know what I mean? They make a big deal, so now it's,
Yeah.
It's so like the Attica riot. They named Attica because of the riot. They named Attica like one of the worst jails in the state. Well, that's 50 years ago, you know what I'm saying? That's back in the 70s, you know what I'm saying? When the riot actually took place, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, and you still label them as one of the worst facilities in the state because of the riots that took place damn near 50 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let me. Yeah, I mean, there's dangerous places everywhere, right? I mean, you put people in that environment, you know, weapons can be made, people can be killed. It just depends on the day, man. And like you said, one dude might be having a bad day. You don't even know the dude. He might stab you. And I don't think people really in the street understand that part, man, especially a lot of these young kids. You know, a dude, like you said, might owe a debt, and he decides, you know what, I'm not checking in. I need to leave here in a different way, and he goes and stab you in the neck, and now you're dead. And I want people to realize that stuff really happens in there. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, it's just like society, man. It's just a smaller society, man. You know what I mean? It just, you know, you go to the store. You know, sometimes in the inner city, man, you walk to the store, man, you can get hit by a stray bullet. It doesn't happen on a regular basis, but it does happen. You know what I'm saying? So these are things that, you know, you got to look at it as happening. You know what I mean? And then you might go to the store and you might get into an altercation. It might be 4 or 5 dudes in front of the store. And, you know, they might like something you have, or they might, you know, it's the same thing in prison, man. You might be getting that bag. If you get in the bag, you might have a dude run down on you. You might be a drug dealer in your neighborhood, and dudes run down on you. This is just the way it is, man. There's no difference.
Dog eat dog world. Let's talk a little bit about, because, you know, my mission on this channel is to save kids from life imprisonment and premature death. And like I said, man, you were the dude that I looked up to. And I know, you know, a lot of kids now, they think they're smart, man. You got these kids out here in our city running around shooting each other. They're carjacking. They've been carjacking dudes the last 2-3 weeks. They don't realize, man, the stuff that they're doing don't even make no sense. So, no disrespect to you, but when you were younger, man, do you realize the mistakes that you made when you were a younger dude?
Yeah, I look back, you know, and that's one of the things, my biggest regret. I hate looking back, man. I mean, it's, you know, and if I could have changed my life, man, I mean, just, you know, just like, man, like if I could have changed my life, I think I would have, you know, spent more time taking advantage of the educational system. I would have stayed in school. I would have graduated, because everything that I've done in life, I mean, selling drugs and you know, running around and, you know, shooting and doing all that crazy, you know, it never paid out, man. It took years of my life, man. You know what I mean? And that's like one of the biggest things, man. Because when you look back, man, and like I said before, if you know, I hate looking back, but when I do look back, you know, I'm like, wow, man, look, you know, all this, it wasn't worth it, man. You know what I mean? And it's sad to see, like, you know, kids out there that's blind because they have no idea what they're up against. You know what I mean? You know, you don't always get paid, Chad. You don't always get paid for what you know, but you seldomly escape paying for what you don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm seeing things out there now, man, that we got away with. Like, you know, there was times that, you know, and I'm not, glorifying them, but there's times that I done, you know, in a stolen vehicle and shot at the police, and, you know, we got away. You know, nowadays, man, I sit back, you get 25 to life for that. For shooting at the police, you get 25. You know what I mean? You know, you get pulled over, you got a gun on, you got some drugs on, you might turn federal, you might get 10 years, 15. You know what I mean? So if one thing I would, you know, that if I can do and change, it would have been I would have spent more time, you know, getting educated and going to school and probably went to college or even the military, man. I would have, you know what I mean? I definitely would have changed, and I would have definitely chose a different route, Chad.
No doubt. And like I said, man, I'm sure you probably remember, you know, honestly, man, you were the dude that I looked up to, like I said, and you were the first person that I ever sold drugs for back then. And I'm sure you remember that. I was like 13 years old. Do you remember that?
Yeah, you know what's crazy is that, Chad, you act like I'm an old man, like I got amnesia or something, right? It's funny because, you know, that you brought it up and stuff. I remember when, you know what gave me an interest in y'all, man? Y'all came to my house one day, right? And, you know, like about a week before that, it was you and your little man, your little crew and shit. Y'all was stealing radar detectors and radios out of cars, and you was going to Paul's house, have Paul get rid of them. You heard?
Yeah.
you walk around with this clown, a fiend, to get rid of them, and he'd end up, you know, going to get a couple hundred and end up giving y'all like, you know, $50, $100 for, and you know what I mean, and beating y'all. So when you came to my house that day, you know what I'm saying, you had a little stolen vehicle. I don't know if you remember we was in the vehicle and I was shooting out the window and shit.
Yep.
And you told me, you was like, yo, man, I'm trying to get into the drug game and stuff. You was like, yo, I'm trying to sell drugs and shit. And I'm sitting there looking at you, and you was a young kid, and I was like, yeah. I said, well, that's better than going to steal out, vehicle, radar detectors, and you know what I mean? I liked it. I said, yo, here, I took a lot of backlash from your mom went to Dawn and was like, yo, I heard about this stuff, I denied it. I ain't got no drugs. Hell no, man, I wouldn't do that to you, Patty. You know what I'm saying? But it's funny, but yeah. And, it's something different, man. It was I felt that it was that time for you to, you was looking for the life. You was, I was going into DFY, Division for Youth, whatever, and nobody introduced y'all to the drug game, man. It was just, I feel bad now, you know what I mean? But it was a thing where, I should, instead of introduce you to the drug, I should introduce you to education, you know what I mean?
I hear you.
And got a program and helped y'all out more better. But, it was what it was, but yeah.
This is the thing, though, Yellow Boy, right? Let me say this. A lot of people don't understand, man, that when you come from nothing and you got nothing, you're trying to get something. Even when you're 12, 13 years old, man, and, there's kids over here in our neighborhood, man, Ghost Town neighborhood, Lyle Avenue, Dewey Avenue. There's kids out here that, man, don't even got no food, man, 10, 11 years old, 12 years old, because unfortunately their parents are addicted to drugs. And, I lived that life, man. And I didn't want to, as a youngster, I was looking for something better, man. And, unfortunately, I made the wrong decisions. And I'm a firm believer in, it could go both ways because people say, oh, no, man, you're a product of your environment. That's an excuse. But really, it's not, man. Because if your mother's getting high and your father's a junkie, and my mother didn't get high. She was a single mother on welfare because my father was a junkie. But when you're poor like that, you do become a product of your environment. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, you definitely do because, like I said, man, when you see, the YB or, the meat or whoever you see, and I don't like really naming too many names. I don't like to name names. I mean, they don't probably mind, but, when you see these dudes in your neighborhood, the Nino Browns in your neighborhood getting money and, and, you see the nice cars, the nice women and everything like that. It's kind of attractive. You know what I'm saying? You attract to that. You know what I mean? You're not going to look at the fireman that's, working his 8 hours and, driving his little truck or whatever he has and stuff. You're looking at the dude that's coming through with the bands and all the women and, that's what you want. You know what I mean? We see this today with in the sports. We see like LeBron James and we see, Westbrook and them when they coming in with the nice, Ferragamo stuff, Ferragamo wear on and the nice Tom Ford glasses and stuff. And this is like, yeah, this is what I want. You know what I'm saying? So what you do in life is, you're going to do something to get that. You know what I mean? So, like I said, man, so it's not, that your mom's and going back to the question that you asked, but I was just, filling you on, on how I look at things, as growing up, how the dudes I looked at, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just like you came from welfare, I came from welfare too, you know what I mean? And I always, and that's one of the reasons that gave me the heart that I have now, and I always give back because I always wanted somebody to always give back to us when we was kids, you know what I'm saying? To be like, yo, boom. And they didn't do that. So now I have the opportunity to do that when I was getting my little money, you know what I'm saying? So I had the bag, so I was able to get back and watch, people smile and, kids, they didn't have to struggle. I, get you a pair of kicks or whatever like this, hoping that, you stayed in school or something,
I hear you, man. You said a lot today, about, we talked about kids and doing the right thing. And, it's not always easy to tell a kid that's 13 or 14 years old to get out of the street, man, when they don't have nothing to eat. And that's why I feel like what you just talked about, giving back, man. As a community, we need to give back. Not just me sitting on a video talking to kids, man, or interviewing someone like you, And, man, people respect you, man. Plain and simple, man. I don't care where you go. People respect you. But I think collectively, man, we have to give back and not allow, people to be oppressed. Because I think that's a major component of, our neighborhoods, man, where we're from. We got to stop the oppression over there and start giving back.
Yeah, well, and a lot starts by, I don't know if you remember, Chad, when we was kids and stuff. I never glorified. I never smoked weed. I never did any drug, or I never even drank at the, back then. And so I always frowned upon, people that actually was drinking and, to an extent smoking and all that. But then I started smoking weed. I remember, back then when I first started smoking weed, which was a late age, about like 17, 18 years old, when I started smoking, weed and stuff. And I always try to promote, for people I mean, not to get into drugs that you can't afford. You know what I'm saying? Like smoking crack and coke and all that. I always frowned upon it because of the, what it's done to the community. I mean, but I sold it. You know what I'm saying? So I see the effect that it has on families. You know what I'm saying? I remember, people right after Christmas or before Christmas bringing their kids presents to the spots and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and it was crazy because just about a few years ago I was confronted with that. I remember going to the spot one day. I was coming over there, and a lady was out front, and she seen me and stuff, and she started talking to me. She was like, "Yo," she said, "Yo," and she just started, giving me her look. She had a dilemma. She had a problem. She had went in the spot. And they had took her boyfriend or husband, whatever he was, to her kid's father. He had took all the kids' presents and took it to the spot and ended up selling them all. You heard?
Yeah.
She done spent her hard-earned money to get these presents, and she had about I want to say she had like $700-800 worth of presents, man. Maybe even more than that, Chad. And this man took them to the spot and ended up selling them shits for like $200. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when we go outside, I'm like, yo, come on, let's go inside. I ain't want to talk to her outside. So I go in there, and the dude was like, nah, yo, she can't. And I'm just like, well, hold on, let's see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So she explained her situation about the kids ain't going to have no Christmas. And, and I didn't want to be a part of that, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, these kids going to have a Christmas because what's your gifts? What's here that's yours? She's like, that. Everything that was sitting there was basically hers, man. That lady done worked hard for to give her kids to see them smile on Christmas Day, man. I said, yo, get all that shit, man. Go ahead, man. Get your stuff, man. And when the dudes realized when they sat back, it was no backlash for them. They realized that, yo, man, he right, man. Because when you talk to them and you speak logically to kids and stuff, you explain to them like, yo, you was a kid at one time. How, you put them in that circumstance, bro. You get positive response, you get positive results, man. They didn't have no problem giving it to her. They didn't tell her, yo, you owe me or nothing like that. They was like, damn, man, yo, yeah, all right. They gave it to her and said, yo, he can't come over here no more, whatever. And I told the lady, I was like, yo, if he take them again and go sell them again, yo, that's on you, man. But, this one's on us, you heard?
Yeah, no doubt.
So it's things like that, and I ain't saying I never told them dudes, oh, don't buy this or buy that. No, buy what you want. But if somebody come back and they got a story, and you believe their story, man, then you should reason with the person, man, and be like, yo, here, take this, give it to the kids or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was just one of the things that that was one of the things I was about. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
So and I think that us as a whole, man, we need to start communicating with each other, man, and explain to them that, how hard you work for this. And, even with your kids, telling them like, yo, man, I did this and did that for you guys to have a better life, man. Not for you to go out there and sell drugs or to go out there and commit crimes. I did this for you, man, that you guys will have the better things in life so that you will work just as hard as I work to give to my grandchildren. You see what I'm saying?
100%, man.
And it's all about communication, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's even with the organization, man. I remember I know we're borrowed for time, but I know, even with the Bloods, right? There's times that, they were, banging against their own kind. I'm like, yo, you banging against Crips? I said, yeah. I said, yo, bro, when I signed on for this, I didn't sign on for that. It's brotherly love, overriding oppression and destruction. I said, I don't know what you guys, where you came up under or who brought you home, but this is what it is. And when you enlighten them to the cause, to the real cause, and they get a full understanding, then it's a different ball game, man. They like, wow, yo, we didn't even know that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when you teach them, man, and you educate them, man, you'll see the results, man. They're positive. There's always positivity, man. You got to explain to a person, man. I remember a guy told me, man, he was complete. He said, yo, guy complained because he had no shoes until he seen a man with no feet, you heard?
Yeah.
So sometimes, man, it's always good, man, the reason. And that's the thing that's not going on in the communities now, is that we're not reaching out to these kids, man. We're not speaking to them and enlightening our own children and telling them, like, yo, look, man, I work hard. I do this. If you got to take your kid to work, take him to work what you want. They tell your boss, yo, I'm going to show him what I do, how hard I work, just so I can put food on the table. Or I can provide, or I can do this and I can do that. You know what I mean? And sometimes, man, a kid, you don't even know, how touching that is to a kid to say, yo, my mother was struggling, man. She did this and did that for it. And I'll be damned if I take that in vain and go out here and do this and do that, or do this and do that, or take her TV and go sell it. That lady worked hard, you know what I'm saying?
We got to lead by example, man. I'm a firm believer in that.
That's it, man. And another thing that, you had said before, unity, you can do a lot with numbers, you know what I'm saying? But you always got to stay mindful, Chad, that it's not the size of the depth that indicates his strength, you heard? Sometimes you get some good brothers behind you, man, and you can move a mountain, man, With a few good men, right? Yeah, that's it, bro. You need a few good people, man, and you got a lot out there that's educated. I know a lot of pastors. I remember a pastor told me one day, I said, man, you got all the answers. He said, yeah. He said, I just can't walk it, man. He said, yo, I can tell you how to get there. He said, I just can't, he said, I go astray, man. He said, yo, I'm human, and it's true because the Bible teaches us, man, that, we all fall short of the glory of God, you heard?
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that, God doesn't love us, you know what I'm saying? Or he's not going to see us through our trials and tribulations, you feel me? And I don't mean to go biblical on you, And, it's a thing, man, you just got to believe, man, and you just got to, help, man,
Yeah. So before we close, right, I want to ask you something else. You're in the feds now, but you're getting ready to come home soon, right?
Yeah.
So how much time you got left before you get out of federal prison?
As right now, I'll probably be home I'll probably be in a halfway house in a year, but a little bit over a year, I'll be in a halfway house.
All right. And look, man, when you get out, man, we're here to help you, man. I want you to know that whatever you need, man, you got it. Anything you want to say before we close the show?
Just, like I said, man, it's always a pleasure, Chad. You heard, and it's always, I like to, elaborate and get back and stuff, and I hope that, we can have some more conversations, more like, especially when I get out, man, so I can share my story, and like I said, man, I encourage people to go to school, man, get educated, man, because you don't always get paid for what you know, but you seldomly escape paying for what you don't know, man, and in the penitentiary, man, if you don't know the law, man, you might pay with the rest of your life, man, you know what I mean? So I encourage everybody, man, if whatever you're doing in life, man, make sure if you commit crimes or whatever, make sure you get educated, man, in the law, man.
No doubt.
If not, man, you're gonna fall victim, man, and you might get more time than you actually, deserve, man, or it warrants.
All right, man, Yellow Boy. With that, I'm gonna close the show. Tell everybody, man, Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real. We bring it to you raw many times right from the penitentiary. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and share this video because someone needs to hear it. And with that, we're out.